One day, a strange door shows up out of nowhere, and behind it lies another world where every skill and item you gain can be brought back with you. The story opens with a girl being harassed by a group of men. At that moment, a boy named Yuya steps in to help her. However, instead of backing down, the men mock him for his appearance, calling him fat and ugly, before beating him up. The situation only ends when the police arrive, forcing the attackers to flee. After everything, the girl expresses her gratitude, but Yuya simply brushes it off and walks away as if nothing happened. It is later revealed that his grandfather raised him to always be kind and to help others no matter what. When Yuya returns home, he finds his house vandalized with insults. Ever since he was a child, Yuya has been constantly bullied by those around him. Even his own parents treat him poorly because his siblings are attractive, while he is labeled as ugly. During his time at Saira Middle School, he often becomes the target of violence. The only person who truly cared for him was his grandfather, who always reminded him that kindness would eventually lead to happiness. After his grandfather passes away, Yuya is left with his house and all his savings. His parents attempt to contest the inheritance, but they fail, and everything rightfully goes to Yuya. Soon after, they abandon him, forcing him to live alone while working part-time just to support himself. As time passes, Yuya graduates from middle school. However, when he looks through the graduation album, he sees nothing but insults written about him. While leaving the school, his bullies confront him once again. They tell him that even though he has graduated, he will always remain their servant. Yuya tries to leave, explaining that he needs to go to work, but they attack him once more. All of this happens while his brother and sister watch from a distance, choosing not to step in. When he finally arrives at work, his boss is tired of his lateness and fires him. At home, he eats sadly in front of the mirror. He gets angry, convinced that nothing will change after graduating. He hits the wall, which suddenly opens into a hidden room. Strange objects are piled inside, and Yuya thinks they are souvenirs from his grandfather's travels. He discovers a unique door. When he opens it, it leads to a strange room. He gets scared when a notification appears. The door is connected to another world. Several notifications explain the available functions, how to store items, and how to manage who can use the door. Even though he is confused by all these functions, he treats it like a game and checks his status. But when he sees it, he is devastated. All his stats are extremely low. He looks around the room, looks outside, and realizes that he is truly in another world. On the table, there is a note that he cannot read at first until his language skill helps him. He learns that the owner of the house was a great sage who was about to die and left the house and everything inside to whoever would find it. The house is protected by magic that only the owner can bypass. He finds a pile of weapons, but when he examines them, he realizes they are exceptional and extremely dangerous items. He looks outside and starts using a sword. He stumbles, but manages to learn a basic sword skill. Thinking it could be useful, Yuya trains with each weapon, discovering divine items and gaining several skills. However, his stats remain at level 1, and he wonders how to increase them. He stores the weapons in his inventory, and suddenly a monster attacks. Yuya panics, but quickly realizes that the house is protected. A level 300 bloodthirsty ogre strikes the magical wall and even pulls out a tree to try to break in, but fails. Yuya thinks he should respond, so he throws his spear, which pierces through the monster and kills it in one hit. The spear returns to him, and the monster disappears, dropping several items. Suddenly, Yuya reaches level 100 and is amazed by his new stats. After distributing all his points, he decides to stop for the day and discovers a sell option that converts items into money. Surprised, Yuya gladly accepts. That night, his body undergoes a complete transformation, and when he wakes up, he realizes his clothes no longer fit him. Not knowing what to do, and with his mirror still broken, he goes out to find clothes. In the sage's house, he finds magical outfits that adjust by themselves and provide various enchanted bonuses. Yuya wonders who the sage is and looks around the garden. Suddenly, a level 200 slime attacks him, but this time Yuya calmly takes out his spear and destroys the creature effortlessly. It drops some slime coffee and even a rare necklace capable of restoring his magic. He levels up again, gains presence detection, and already reaches level 150. He tastes the slime coffee. It is surprisingly good, and he decides to use part of his earnings to order a new uniform to receive for the school term. After that, he spends his days in the other world and begins to enjoy himself, even forgetting his depression. He trains and learns everything he can about this world. An elite goblin attacks his house, but Yuya has changed. He fights it skillfully and uses a spell to destroy the goblin. Time passes, and the school term begins. Everyone is immediately intrigued by him. Even his brothers and sisters seem shocked. In class, his bullies approach him without recognizing him, thinking he is a transfer student. When he reveals who he is, everyone is shocked and does not believe it. When he goes to the bathroom, he is completely stunned to see himself for the first time since his transformation. After school, his brother and sister approach him, wondering how he changed so much, and still call him a loser. Suddenly, a limousine stops and the girl he saved is looking for him. He wonders who she is. She reminds him that he saved her and asks how she knows his name. She says she searched for him to thank him and introduces herself as Kaori. She offers him to enroll in the academy, and Yuya recognizes the name. It is a school for the elite. We learn that Kaori is part of the student council and that her father is the chairman of the academy. Yuya is flattered by the invitation, but doubts his abilities, thinking he is not good enough for the academy. His brother interrupts, asking to be admitted instead, bragging that he is better than Yuya in studies and sports. But Kaori refuses. They insult Yuya, even though he is her hero, and she reveals that she has already investigated them and knows all the things they have done against him. She tells him that their academy values personality more than grades, so his admission would not be a problem. Her companions offer to show him the school. She grabs his arm and leaves, while his siblings are left in shock. They arrive at the academy, a prestigious school full of brilliant students. He meets Chairman Tsukasa, who thanks him for saving his daughter. Yuya downplays it, but Kaori insists that he was the only one who helped her. Tsukasa offers him a place in the school, and even offers to pay for his tuition as thanks. But Yuya hesitates, convinced that he does not belong among geniuses. Tsukasa explains that geniuses are just people who found the right way to work efficiently. While Yuya believes everything depends on talent, Tsukasa replies that everyone has their own gifts, and with challenges and enjoyment, he will eventually discover them. He is still young. He offers Yuya to try the school for one day. A teacher named Sawada enters, and Tsukasa introduces her as a famous scientist whose classes are popular and easy to follow. Yuya prepares for his first class, nervous about not being able to keep up, but tells himself it cannot be worse than his old school. He is called to introduce himself, and all the students seem shocked. He fears their judgment, but in reality, they are amazed by his appearance. He sits at the back and shares a book with the girl next to him, who seems a bit cold. He already worries that she might dislike him. As the class goes on, Yuya finds it quite normal, except that the students are much more active and involved. During the break, several students come to talk to him, asking questions like if he is an idol or if he has a girlfriend, until a student named Rio stops them and takes him to lunch at the cafeteria. Amazed by the menu, everything is free. Yuya feels like he is in heaven. He sits with another student named Shingo, who talks about anime, and Yuya realizes they are very similar. While eating, he notices that everyone is looking at him and thinks it is because he is wearing a different uniform. Shingo asks if he is in any club, but Yuya says he is not part of any. Rio is also not in a club because he excels in all sports and cannot choose just one. Shingo admits he is in the video game club, and Yuya is surprised that there are allowed consoles at school. Shingo says it is fine as long as they do not play during class. While talking about video games, Yuya gradually relaxes with them. At the end of the day, he meets Tsukasa again, says that he had a great time, and decides to enroll in the school. As he leaves, he meets Kaori, who wonders if he will join the school. He tells her his decision. She is happy that he will stay and invites him to hang out after classes to visit some shops nearby. Yuya wonders if that is where she usually goes with her friends, but she admits she does not go out often because people hesitate due to her family, especially her father. She adds, however, that he is different. Yuya becomes nervous and suggests going to a crepe shop. When he sees the prices, he feels relieved that he earned money from the other world. He tries the crepes and enjoys them, wanting to taste different flavors. Suddenly, he worries that if he eats too much, he might return to his original form. He asks Kaori how she recognized him despite his different appearance. She answers that he is a bit slimmer, but his eyes have not changed. She offers him a bite of her crepe. Since he wanted to try different flavors, he takes a bite, feeling a bit embarrassed. She immediately understands his embarrassment and also takes a bite in return. She accepts nervously, takes a bite, and some girls watching them think they look very cute together. Later that night, Yuya decides to return to the other world and puts on a full set of armor. He enters and fights the monsters that appear. Despite his fear, he defeats them and reaches level 235, but notices that leveling up is now much slower. He then considers leaving his house to search for stronger monsters. Thinking about the academy, Yuya wants a new challenge, but as he goes through the door, he suddenly hears a scream. He takes out his spear and rushes toward the sound. He finds several soldiers brutally massacred. Then he sees a monster, a level 200 goblin general. Yuya senses the danger, but notices a girl behind the monster. He throws his spear, the goblin blocks it, then Yuya rushes forward and crushes its head with a kick. He turns toward the girl, but she shouts that another goblin is behind him. He is knocked back, as this one is clearly stronger and faster. Still, Yuya does not give up. He relies on his other abilities. He uses his spear to jump over the goblin, unleashes a rain of arrows, then draws his sword and cuts it in half. He makes sure the girl is safe and wonders about the other humans in this place, but she faints. Some men approach, so he activates invisibility to remain unnoticed. Knights arrive to take the girl. We learn that her name is Lexia and she is a princess. Back at home, Yuya thinks about what happened, worried about her, but after seeing the knights, he believes she should be safe. Looking at his shirt, he also thinks that with the money he earned from the other world, he should buy some clothes. At the shopping mall, people watch him as he walks by, thinking he is an actor or a model. His shirt is enchanted to stay clean, but he wants to change his style a bit. Meanwhile, a director is yelling at a man, the manager of a model named Sho, who has still not arrived for the shoot. The manager finally receives a call from Sho, who says he is on the way. The director is furious, saying Sho is disrespecting the entire team, especially Mew, the model who has been waiting all morning. The theme of the photo shoot is an impossible couple, but without him it cannot happen. The director hesitates as everyone is waiting. So, he decides to find a replacement at the shopping mall. Lost among so many options, Yuya feels overwhelmed. Some girls approach him, and he thinks it might be a sales tactic. They want to know more about him and even offer to help him shop. He does not want to hurt them, so he politely refuses. The girls are left amazed and become excited about him. But Yuya wonders if he handled the situation well. The director has found a replacement but tells his assistant not to give up. Then he sees Yuya, and the director is convinced that he is the right one. Yuya is nervous, but he thinks about all the people relying on him and finally agrees to be their model. He plays the role of a boyfriend for the photo shoot, posing in different outfits and styles. The director asks him to be more attractive. Yuya struggles a bit to follow, but Mew reassures him, saying he is doing well for a first time. Yuya becomes captivated by her gaze. She thanks him for saving them, and he notices that she is getting closer. The director comments that Yuya looks a bit stiff, so they change the location. Yuya is impressed by Mew's professionalism, and despite the tense situation, he becomes more motivated. But during the next shot, Mew holds on to him, and he panics when she gets close to him. The director tells them to get even closer. She wraps her arms around him and holds him tighter, making him even more uncomfortable while a crowd begins watching them. Meanwhile, in the other world, Princess Lexia is thinking about the one who saved her. She decides to leave, and her knight asks where she is going. She says she is returning to the dark forest to find her savior, but he replies that it is impossible for someone to live there. Lexia insists that she was truly saved and that she must thank that person. Her knight warns her about the dangers of going back, but she orders him to accompany her this time, and he wonders where she got that reckless side from. At the shopping mall, the photo shoot is finished, and Yuya is exhausted. Mew thanks him again, and Yuya suddenly chokes on his drink. Mew offers him her handkerchief, but Yuya hesitates because he is sweaty, and he also cannot wipe himself with his sleeve since the clothes are not his. Yuya thinks about his experience as a model and finds Mew amazing, but she downplays it, saying she just got used to it and that she made many mistakes at the beginning. He thinks that it is the first time he has worn such stylish clothes. He never had the chance before, and he wonders why she became a model. She answers that she just wanted to be noticed because her parents were always too busy for her. Then, when she started gaining fans, she continued because their support made her feel good, and she enjoyed bringing joy to those who watched her. She tells him that he can also succeed at his own pace, and reminds him to enjoy every moment. While he is talking, the director secretly takes many photos. Suddenly, shows begin and the crowd gets excited when they see him. He goes to Mew and suggests continuing the photo shoot. He pins her against the wall and tries to invite her for a drink, but Yuya clearly sees that she is uncomfortable. He steps in. Sho asks who he is and tries to hit him, but Yuya pushes him back with a single move. Everyone is shocked. Yuya finds the attack surprisingly slow. He worries about causing a scene and getting into trouble for beating up such a handsome guy. But the crowd applauds him and thinks he is very cool. Sho is surprised that he lost, even though he practices boxing. The director orders him to leave. Everything was recorded in 4K. Sho runs away, and Mew thanks Yuya. Sho had been following her everywhere, and she did not know what to do anymore. The director adds that Sho has always had suspicious behavior, and after this, it will be difficult for him to find work. He asks Yuya if he wants to continue modeling. Yuya thanks him for the opportunity to work with professionals, but admits he does not feel capable and refuses. The director respects his decision, and since they cannot pay him because he is an amateur, he offers him all the clothes from the shoot as thanks. Yuya thinks the experience is enough, but the director reminds him that work should always be paid, especially after helping them. So Yuya accepts. Mew hopes to work with him again, and he wishes her good luck. Later, in the car, the director regrets that Yuya did not continue, convinced that he could have become a star. While looking at the photos, Mew thinks about how different Yuya was, and the director notices her blushing and teases her, suggesting that she has feelings for him. Yuya packs his things, putting away all his new clothes, and we see his photo spreading everywhere. Agencies wonder who he is, and a producer is ready to do anything to sign him, ordering her assistant to find him before the others. Seeing how he stood up to Mew even as an amateur, she decides not to let him slip away. Meanwhile, in the other world, Lexia's knights are struggling against goblins. They are having a hard time. A goblin appears behind her, but it is defeated when Yuya arrives. They are shocked to see him, and Yuya defeats the goblins effortlessly. Lexia is relieved to see that he is real, and Yuya finishes off the remaining enemies. He heals one of the knights, and Lexia approaches him, saying she came to the dark forest because she had something to tell him. Yuya wonders what it is, and she suddenly asks him if he wants to marry her, shocking everyone. Her knight is surprised and reminds her of her position as a princess, saying they know nothing about Yuya. But Lexia insists. It was love at first sight. The two begin to argue, but Yuya interrupts them, saying the forest is dangerous and invites them to his home. They are surprised to learn that he really lives in the forest. They are amazed when they see his house, and the knight introduces himself as Owen, captain of the Knights of Arcelia, while presenting Lexia as the first princess of Arcelia and second heir to the throne. She thanks him again for saving them, and Yuya becomes concerned about how to act after learning she is a princess. But she reassures him that this is not an official visit, and that he is still their savior. Yuya introduces himself, but his name sounds strange to them, and they think he might be from another country. Lexia imagines that he could be a foreign prince, while Owen fears other possibilities. Owen explains that they came to find him because the first time he saved Lexia, she was not able to thank him. She admits that she has been thinking about him ever since that day, that it is the first time she has felt this way, and she asks him to marry her again. Yuya is overwhelmed and finds the request far too sudden, which makes the princess think that love cannot be that simple. Thinking about all those romance stories, she believes that love must have obstacles and that it would be boring if everything went smoothly. So, she asks to start as his friend. Yuya, nervous as he thinks about his past, agrees to be her friend. Owen adds that there is another reason for their visit. The king would like Yuya to come to the palace to thank him in person. Yuya hesitates, but Owen insists that it is a royal order and that he cannot leave until Yuya accepts. So Yuya has no choice but to accept the invitation. Owen says that the trip will take about 5 days, including travel. Yuya worries that it might interrupt the start of his new school and asks to postpone it. But Owen replies that they can wait until he decides to go. They say their goodbyes, and Lexia tells him to prepare himself because she intends to win his heart next time. Somewhere in the royal capital, a man reports the failure of an assassination attempt against Lexia. We see a masked man. It is revealed that he sent assassins after Lexia, but they were caught in the dark forest and killed by monsters. The masked man wonders how she returned without weapons and scolds his subordinate for failing again. He removes his mask, revealing a disfigured face, and it is revealed that he belongs to a royal branch and swears to take revenge on Lexia. Back at Yuya's home, he marks on his calendar the date planned to meet the king. He puts on his new uniform and leaves for his first day at the academy. Everyone watches him as he walks, as if he were some kind of famous model. When he arrives, the director greets him but apologizes for not having much time and tells him to enjoy the school. Yuya is introduced to the class as an official student. We see Ryo and Shingo happy to see him again. We move to a soccer match, where we meet a student named Roy who scores a goal and draws cheers from the girls. Yuya watches from the sidelines, impressed by his talent. A girl named Kaede approaches him and wonders why he is not playing, but Yuya replies that he does not have his sports uniform yet. We see Roy facing the opposing team alone, but he tricks them by passing the ball to his teammate Akira. Akira runs toward the goal, tries to use his special move, but misses and sends the ball straight toward Katie. However, Yuya manages to stop it and even scores a goal at the same time. Everyone is stunned. How can he move so fast? He checks if Kaede is okay, but she is left speechless by him. Akira runs over to apologize, swearing to become her servant, but Kaede politely refuses and says she is fine. Ryo defends Akira, describing him as just a bit strange, and Akira thanks Yuya for saving everyone. Later, Kaori goes to change for gym class. All the girls talk about Yuya, thinking he is like a real prince. Kaori tells them everything, and the girls assume that someone like him must already have a girlfriend. But Kaori and Kaede insist that nothing is confirmed. During the next class, Yuya signals to Kaori, who is on the field, when suddenly some delinquents arrive on motorcycles. They surround the girls, holding bats, and all the students watch the commotion. They recognize the group as the Red Ogres, the most dangerous gang in the area. Yuya recognizes them and sees his brother and sister among them. Kaori wonders what they are doing at the school, and Yuya's brother points at her, saying she is the director's daughter. Kaori recognizes the two and says they want revenge because she looked down on them and accepted Yuya into the academy. Kaori warns that the police are coming, but Sarah, Yuya's sister, thinks they still have time and suggests kidnapping her in retaliation. The delinquents corner her. The situation looks bad. Yuya wants to step in, but his legs start shaking. Despite his fights in the other world, he is emotionally affected when facing his bullies. His friends become worried when they see him panicking, but he regains control. He opens a window and jumps out, shocking everyone. They are on the 4th floor, yet Yuya lands without injury. He rushes forward to face his former tyrant Haraki, who wants to teach him a lesson. Haraki sends his men at Yuya, but Yuya dodges everything and disarms them all in an instant. Haraki tries to attack, but Yuya runs past him, focusing on Kaori. He is stopped by a huge guy named Amori who charges at him. Yuya does not move and throws him aside. Yuya reaches Kaori and checks if she is okay, but the gang leader rushes at him. Yuya dodges, and the boss attacks on a motorcycle. Yuya jumps aside, and the man loses control and crashes. The leader is furious, but the police arrive. All the delinquents are handcuffed, and the students are sent back to class. Yuya makes sure Kaori is okay. She loses balance, and he catches her and they share a brief moment. Meanwhile, Yuya thinks the Red Ogres were pointless, but the boss grabs him by the throat and blames him. Sarah begs for him, gets kicked, and Yuya continues being strangled. But Yuya intervenes to separate them and thanks him. The leader charges again. Yuya stares at him calmly. The students wonder what is happening, and everything settles down while Yuta wonders why he saved him. Yuya answers that despite everything they did to him, they are still his family, and he could not abandon them. His brother cries and begs for forgiveness, apologizing for everything. His friends join him and apologize for the trouble he caused. Everyone is amazed, wondering how he managed to jump out of the window. Yuya leaves to explore the other world, remembering Owen's warning. The Dark Forest is the most dangerous region, with monsters capable of destroying a city. He leaves the house of the former sage and goes deeper into the forest, looking for stronger opponents, when he hears a scream and sees a puppy being attacked by an orc. The puppy gives off a dark glow but is too weak to defend itself. Yuya watches from a distance and realizes that the orc is a level 600 orc king with more than 20,000 attack. Yuya thinks he has no chance and decides not to intervene, but when the orc continues to stomp on the dog, he cannot bring himself to leave, thinking about what his grandfather would do. He decides to help, hoping at least to distract the orc. He rushes in and defeats it with a single strike, and he feels a bit foolish for taking so long to decide when it ended so easily. He remembers the ogre that defeated him at level 1 and wonders about the sage who created such incredible weapons. He checks on the dog, which growls at him. He offers it a potion, but it faints. He quickly heals it, and the dog starts to like him. He talks to it and learns that it is alone and has no home, so he offers to adopt it. The dog happily accepts, and Yuya suddenly gains the taming skill. The dog becomes his companion, and he looks at its stats. It is a level 500 black Fenrir. He is left speechless. He thinks about giving it a name after seeing its black fur. He calls it Night, and it happily jumps on him. He returns home and examines the items dropped by the Orc King. There is an S-rank magic stone, as well as the Orc King's sword and armor. The equipment cannot be used by humans, but might be reforged. There is also a rare brush that stimulates hair growth, but he uses it to brush Night. He checks his own stats. He is still level 235. It is strange that he did not level up after defeating a level 600 monster, but he tells himself he will understand the leveling system later. Back in the real world, he leaves Night at home and goes to school. He asks his friends if there is a pet shop nearby and reveals that he just adopted a dog. Kaide gets excited and wants to see pictures, but Yuya becomes uncomfortable when she gets too close. She apologizes, and he admits that he does not have any pictures because he does not even have a smartphone. His friends find that a bit strange, but he says he never really needed one. They tell him about a nearby pet shop, but they cannot go with him after school. Kaede offers to take him there. Yuya thanks her. She starts imagining it as a date, but he tells her not to worry about it. At home, Night runs toward him, and Yuya shows him the items Kaede helped him choose. He puts the new collar on Night and decides to go for a walk. They go to the park, and everyone looks at them, thinking he looks cool and that Night is very cute. He eventually runs into Kaori and introduces Night to her. She pets him, finds him adorable, and the people around them think they look perfect together. Kaori asks what breed Night is, but Yuya pretends not to know. He cannot say that it is a Fenrir. Still, Kaori guesses that it is very intelligent and is happy that Yuya adopted it. A girl calls out to Yuya. It is Mew, the model he worked with. She also lives in the area and comes here to walk. Yuya is surprised, and everyone is amazed to see him with such a beautiful young woman. They attract even more attention when people recognize Mew. To avoid a scene, Mew leaves but promises that she hopes to see him again. After she leaves, Kaori asks if Mew is his girlfriend. Yuya, shocked, explains that they only met once and that she is far too good for him. Kaori disagrees. Suddenly, a woman screams. A man runs away with her handbag. Kaori panics. Yuya orders Night to chase him. They make sure the old woman is okay. Then Night returns, dragging the man along. Yuya tells Kaori to call the police, but the man breaks free and rushes toward Kaori. Yuya steps in front of her, disarms him, and subdues him effortlessly. The crowd cheers and thinks he is incredibly cool. Kaori thanks him for saving her again. They hand the man over to the police, and Yuya returns home. He continues exploring the dark forest with Night by his side. They fight countless monsters. They encounter another Orc King, but this time Night shows his abilities, bites its neck, and defeats it alone. As they move forward, they spot a level 630 crystal deer. Yuya observes it while invisible and notes its impressive magical stats. He wonders how to approach it, but he is suddenly detected despite his invisibility and has no time to think. The creature charges, so they split up. Night attempts an attack, but the deer uses magic, causing an explosion to defend itself. It then gathers another attack and fires a beam at Yuya, which he manages to dodge. Yuya realizes they need to work together and tells Night to create an opening. Night dashes around the deer at high speed, but the deer retaliates with magic, causing countless explosions around them. Still, Night manages to land a hit, and Yuya takes the opportunity to knock the creature out. He collects the loot and notices a box that intrigues him. When he opens it, it is a portable bath kit that stays clean automatically and even has a privacy curtain. Amazed by such an item, he decides to try it, and discovers several modes. Since it is too risky to use it in the forest, he returns home for the night and takes a relaxing bath with Night. The next day, they face a needle wolf that moves at incredible speed. At first he struggles, but eventually he predicts its movements, dodges its attack, sends it crashing into a wall, and finishes it off. He finally reaches level 240, and Knight also levels up to 510. The wall suddenly cracks where the monster hit and reveals a cave. He decides to check it out, hoping to find enemies, but there are none. The cave lights up as they enter a larger chamber. While searching, Yuya is shocked to find a corpse, but Knight draws his attention to a book on the ground. Yuya examines it. It is the sage's book. While reading it, he discovers that the sage had mastered everything, with each type of skill becoming almost divine in power. Even the gods had invited him to join them, but he refused. The book begins to speak to Yuya, warning him that as he becomes stronger, the people around him will eventually fear him. Yuya wonders how to prevent that, and suddenly hears the sage's voice advising him to find people he can trust. The sage asks if he wants to know something. Yuya asks to learn magic. The sage then fills the book with all his magical knowledge, but notes that Yuya cannot use magical circuits in his body as he comes from another world. However, the sage decides to pass his own magical circuits to Yuya, telling him to seek happiness and live well. Yuya returns home and begins learning magic through the book. He starts by sensing the magical energy around him and learns how to manipulate it. He only needs to gather the energy in his hand and imagine the spell he wants to cast. He goes outside to try it, imagines a water sphere, and Knight also seems to learn. He launches the sphere at a tree and it is incredibly powerful. The tree is pierced as if it were paper. Meanwhile, in the royal capital, Alan reports to the king. He talks about Yuya, and when he mentions that the princess made a proposal to him, the king becomes furious, convinced that Yuya has seduced his daughter. Back at school, Yuya daydreams while thinking about the sage's grimoire, which warned him about magic. The techniques he is learning are rare even in the other world. The teacher reminds the class that they will go camping the following week, and forms groups of 4. Yuya is placed with Kaede, Akira, and a girl named Rin. Kaede admits that he does not have any equipment. Kaede suggests going shopping at the mall, where Shingo is surprised to see Kaori join them. Ryo cannot believe that Yuya is friends with Kaori. Most people find her intimidating because she is the director's daughter, but she tells them to see her as a normal student. Yuya wonders where Akira is, and Shingo explains that he could not come. They enter a store and help Yuya choose a backpack, then decide to hang out and end up going to the arcade. Shingo gets excited when he sees his favorite character in a claw machine, but he is bad at it. Yuya tries, uses his weak point detection skill, finds the right spot, and wins the figure on the first try. Kaede asks him to win her a cat plush. He uses his ability again and gets it easily, then wins prizes for everyone. Kaori admits that it is her first time at an arcade and thanks him for the gifts. The girls go shopping for clothes. The boys take a break and go to a cafe. Yuya enjoys this first real moment with friends. Suddenly, an alarm goes off. An announcement says there is a fire and that everyone must evacuate. Yuya worries about the girls, thinking the fire might be closer to them. When he reaches the stairs, he asks a man if he has seen his friends, and Ryo receives a call from Kaede. They are still trapped upstairs. Yuya runs up the stairs, thinking about his friends, and reaches the source of the fire. The sprinklers are not enough, so he decides it is time to use his magic. He surrounds his body with a layer of water and walks through the flames. The girls are unconscious because of the smoke. Yuya rushes to them and arrives just in time, wondering if there are other people left. He activates his detection ability to scan the building. Apparently, they are the only ones. He protects the girls with his magic, but the fire grows stronger and he fears they might not survive. Outside, Ryo and Shingo watch and inform the firefighters that their friends are inside. But nothing can be done until the fire is under control. Yuya looks for an exit when the roof collapses, and while dodging, Kaori drops the gift he gave her. He reaches a dead end and realizes there is no other way out. So, he uses his magic to break the building and create a path. Everything shakes, but Yuya manages to escape with the girls. The firefighters treat the girls and scold him for his recklessness. Kaori's father arrives to thank him again for saving his daughter, and Yuya returns the brooch that he had found. Kaori hugs her father. Yuya thinks about what a real family is and realizes that he does not really have one. But when he returns home, Knight runs toward him, and he understands that they are his family. Yuya thinks about other uses of magic and remembers that magic is just the materialization of his imagination. He imagines traveling, focuses on his destination, and opens a portal that takes him to the heart of a dark forest. He is excited that it works, but realizes that he can only go to places he has already visited. Still, he thinks he can use it to return home and feed Knight even during school trips. They take the opportunity to explore further and discover a cave filled with goblins. But his legendary sword crushes them. He collects many rare items and stores them using his storage ability. And he feels that his teamwork with Knight is improving. They leave the cave. Yuya suggests stopping for the day, but Knight looks sad and wants to continue. Yuya replies that he has to return to prepare for the school trip, and suddenly Knight runs off. Yuya follows him, and Knight seems to have detected something ahead. So Yuya activates his invisibility to move forward carefully and finds a wounded girl surrounded by goblins. Yuya wants to save her, but Knight holds him back. The elite goblin knocks down a tree, threads interfere with the attack, and the girl strikes, cutting off the goblin's arm. Yuya wonders about her threads. When the goblins jump at her, she pushes them back with her threads, but the elite hits her and seems to defeat her. As the goblin approaches, Yuya suddenly appears and, together with Knight, eliminates the goblins. But a horde arrives, so Yuya uses his divine whip, which chains attacks and crushes everything in one strike. He finds the weapon too overpowered, able to hit multiple targets without missing. After the battle, he hesitates about what to do with the girl. He thinks about taking her home, but Knight disagrees. He does not want to leave her, and she suddenly wakes up, surprised to be carried, then falls. Yuya offers her his healing drink, which instantly heals all her injuries. The girl, surprised by its effect, asks who he is. Yuya introduces himself and presents Knight, but Knight shows hostility toward her, which confuses Yuya. We learn that the girl's name is Luna. She was training in the forest when she was caught off guard by the elite goblin and ended up in trouble. She asks what happened to them, and Yuya replies that he eliminated them. She asks what he is doing in the forest, and he says he was training as well, which surprises her. Since he carried her, Luna apologizes for being dirty and sweaty, but Yuya reassures her. She looks for a river to clean herself. Yuya takes out his portable bath and stands guard outside. Luna is amazed by such a rare item. He explains that he obtained it from a crystal deer, and she is impressed. Yuya thinks this is normal in the dark forest, but Luna reveals that she is there because of a client's request, although Yuya does not hear it, and she asks him to accompany her for her training. Since they are both training in the forest, she wants to train with him. Yuya feels uneasy about leaving her alone, so he agrees, and they are seen training together, helping each other. They both improve. We see Luna defeating a goblin with her threads. Yuya congratulates her for defeating an elite. She replies that she still has a long way to go and that she must become stronger to accomplish her mission. Yuya tells her that he has to leave, trying to explain that he has a school trip. Luna is not really convinced. He apologizes, and she thanks him for all his help. After their last training, Yuya relaxes in a bath, but Luna suddenly joins him to share it. He blushes, and she snuggles close to him, telling him how much these moments meant to her, and that she will cherish them. She thanks him again and offers to wash his back, but her towel slips, and Yuya becomes very embarrassed. The class then goes on their trip, and we see Yuya playing cards with his friends. Kaede says he looks tired, and Yuya admits he did not sleep much the night before. Yuya wins the game, and everyone is shocked. 5 wins in a row. Yuya thinks it is just luck. He decides to take a nap and assumes he won because he put many points into luck, wondering if what happened with Luna was also due to that same luck. Yuya is woken up upon arrival. The students change, and the teacher announces that they will camp for 2 days and must survive using what nature provides, reminding them that there are fish in the river and edible plants. Kaede worries that some plants might be poisonous, but Sawada explains that the school nurse is on standby. The students find her scary. They always hear screams coming from her office. Akira thinks they can survive a day without eating, but Sawada says this is part of their lesson and that it is a competition between classes. Yuya asks if there is a reward, and Sawada admits it affects her bonus. She tells them to do their best, but the students are not very impressed. The students are left in the forest. Yuya wonders where to start. Akira thinks survival will be easy, but the other 3 ignore him, thinking he is an idiot. Rin suggests that Yuya and Kaede go fishing, while she and Akira look for edible plants. We see everyone by the river, and they complain that they were too slow. They notice Ryo near the water, who warns them that the best spots are already taken. Kaede suggests trying something else, but Yuya activates his sense and finds an open spot. There are many fish, but Kaede says the water is too shallow for a fishing rod. Yuya has another plan and steps into the water. He thinks that compared to the monsters in the dark forest, the fish are slower. Remembering Luna's lessons about reading behavior, he catches a fish with his bare hands. Kaede is amazed, and Yuya keeps going, catching all the fish. Others think he is crazy. Kaede says he caught too many, and Yuya admits he got carried away thinking of thanking Luna for her advice. Meanwhile, in a dark area of a city, a shop full of puppets appears. Luna, along with Manus and Phils, cuts off their heads and notes that her power has improved. She thinks back to her time with Yuya, but it is revealed that she is actually an assassin and has been killing since childhood. Still, Yuya seems different to her. She regrets not meeting him earlier, wondering if her life could have been different, but she knows she must forget him, as she is known as the head hunter, and she prepares for her next target. Yuya and Kaede return to Rin and show their catch. She is surprised to learn that Yuya caught everything with his bare hands. Yuya looks for Akira, who is lying on the ground, complaining that Rin used him to test poisonous mushrooms and as bait to attract bears. Yuya worries about him, checks his condition to see if he was poisoned, then feels relieved when he sees he is fine. Rin and Akira show all the plants they gathered, and Yuya evaluates them one by one, removing the poisonous mushrooms. They go to show their harvest at the building so the teacher can inspect it, and we see other students being checked to detect any poison. Yuya meets Kaori, who asks how his team is doing. They talk about their experience until Kaori's team calls her. Akira is surprised by their closeness and secretly wishes to be more like Yuya. The team shows their catch to Sawada, who congratulates them for being the first to bring back so much edible food. She gets excited about her bonus, but says they will also be graded on their cooking. She asks who will cook, and everyone looks at Yuya. Sawada encourages him, saying her bonus depends on him, but Yuya thinks she could be a bit less obvious about her motives. Yuya starts preparing the meal using what he learned from living alone and cooking in the other world. He manages to make a very impressive dish. The team starts eating, and Yuya waits for their reaction when Sawada arrives, slightly drunk, surprised by what they are eating. She tastes it as well. Yuya gets nervous while waiting for their opinion, but everyone finds the dish amazing. Sawada admits that even though the school has top chefs, his cooking is better and wonders how that is possible. Yuya remembers that he used to cook only for himself when he was alone, but he is happy to see others enjoying his food. After the meal, Sawada asks him to marry her, shocking everyone. She explains that she does not know how to cook or clean because she was too focused on her research and never had a relationship. After tasting his cooking, she finds him perfect and asks him to marry her and take care of her. Everyone tells her it is a bad idea and even calls Yuya incapable. This makes Yuya doubt his own worth, but Sawada insists on marrying him and says she will wait for him. Yuya becomes nervous, thinking it is inappropriate since she is his teacher, but he tells her that he thinks she is a good teacher. Sawada, happy, hugs him tightly against her chest, while Kaede tries to pull him away. And Akira thinks he hit the jackpot. Later that night, Yuya teleports home to see Night. Using food from his storage, he quickly prepares dinner for him. Watching him eat, Yuya realizes he enjoys making others happy with his cooking. He returns to the camp, where everyone is showering together. Everyone is looking at him, and Yuya wonders what is happening. Akira points out that his body is unbelievable, and Yuya wonders what is wrong. But Akira cannot believe it. He is handsome and very muscular. Meanwhile, in the girls' bathroom, Rin teases Kaede, saying that all the boys must be attracted to her, until they meet Kaori and mention that Sawada wanted to marry Yuya. Kaori is surprised to hear that, and the girls think Sawada has a big advantage. Kaede seems determined to try her luck with Yuya. Kaori wonders about her own feelings, but quickly brushes them aside. Rin finds it obvious, but Kaori instead wonders what kind of girl Yuya likes. The next morning, some students discover their belongings have been damaged and think there is a thief. Akira looks worried while Yuya checks that everything is still there. The group goes to get breakfast, but Akira becomes scared when he sees claw marks on a tree. Yuya remembers that Akira said he used them to attract bears away and understands the situation. As he looks around, a bear suddenly appears in front of the girls, and they run away screaming. The bear starts chasing them, causing panic among the students. Sawada orders everyone to take cover. The bear crashes into a table, and Sawada shouts at them to get to safety. While running, Sawada falls, and the bear jumps toward her. But Yuya jumps in front of her. He fights the bear, throws it to the ground, and knocks it out. He makes sure Sawada is okay. She says she would normally lecture him about fighting a bear, but since he saved her life, she lets it pass. She even proposes to marry him again, which he politely declines. Yuya wonders what they will do with the bear. Kaori explains that they will make it a guard bear, and if it attacks people again, they will eat it. The bear seems to understand, so the problem is resolved, and the camping trip ends. Back at home, Yuya prepares to meet the king of the other world, and Lexia travels to meet him along the way. He comes across a group of demons in the forest. It would be bad if Lexia ran into them, so he decides to eliminate them. Night injures one of them. Yuya throws his spear, but the demon catches it, so he switches to a hammer, which completely crushes the demon and clears the area, leaving him once again amazed by the sage's weapons. The demon drops a strange helmet. A strange rabbit observes him, thinking it is him. But Lexia's group arrives. Owen becomes worried when he sees him. Yuya realizes it is because of the helmet. He quickly removes it, and everyone feels relieved. They ask if he is ready to meet the king, and officially invite him to the palace. Suddenly, a knight jumps toward Lexia, a tree falls, and Yuya cuts it in half. Yuya notices threads like the ones Luna uses, and realizes that Knight was protecting the princess. Owen wonders what is happening. We see Luna cursing her failure. As she tries to escape, Yuya attacks her, and she loses consciousness. Yuya is surprised that it is really Luna. Lexia arrives and asks who she is. He explains that Luna tried to attack her, and realizes that Knight knew from the beginning. Yuya asks to heal her wounds and take her home to talk to her because he does not want to believe that she is bad. Lexia agrees to his request. Owen arrives running and tells her not to go alone, but she says she is going to visit Yuya. Yuya asks if she is sure. Lexia admits she is curious about why she was attacked and what relationship he has with Luna. Yuya decides to teleport to return faster, leaving Owen behind. Lexia is surprised by the teleportation. Yuya explains how he met Luna in the forest and how they trained together. But Lexia is more interested in the teleportation spell he used. Yuya says he simply imagined the magic to move and ended up creating it. Lexia cannot believe it and tells him that teleportation is considered a myth, and no one has ever been confirmed to be capable of it. She warns him that if anyone discovers he can teleport, it could start a war, so he must promise not to use it in front of others without thinking. Then she suddenly calls out Luna, asking how long she plans to pretend to be asleep. Luna gets up, caught in the act, and Lexia notes that Yuya also knew she was pretending, but played along out of kindness. Lexia asks about her story, but Luna says there is no reason and suggests they should kill her. But Yuya also wants to know her story. So Luna explains that she was an orphan who survived by searching through trash until a man took her in, taught her how to read, write, and assassinate, and then she joined the Black Guild. Yuya, curious, asks what the Black Guild is. Lexia explains that it is an organization that carries out all kinds of crimes. Luna adds that she has completed countless assassinations and has even been nicknamed the Head Hunter. Lexia is surprised to hear that name. She has heard of it before, and Yuya wonders if Knight knew from the beginning. He then understands why Knight was hostile toward her at first. Luna admits that she was sent to assassinate Lexia, but she failed, and now her death is certain. Either she will be executed, or the Black Guild will send assassins to eliminate her. Yuya worries about her, but Luna wonders why he cares, given how little time they spent together. Yuya replies that even if it was brief, it mattered to him, and he considers her a friend. Luna thinks it is already too late for her, but Lexia interrupts and offers her a job to become her bodyguard. Luna, in disbelief, asks what she is talking about, and Lexia explains that only she and Yuya know about the assassination attempt, so they can keep it a secret, and by becoming the princess's bodyguard, the guild will have a harder time reaching her. Luna calls her crazy, saying she is a criminal, remembering all the people she has killed and her blood-stained hands. Lexia tells her that she has beautiful hands, is surprised by how soft they are, and adds that it is thanks to the bath Yuya gave her. Luna continues to refuse, but Lexia scolds her. Since she failed to kill her, she is the loser and must now obey her orders. Luna has no choice but to accept the mission. Meanwhile, Owen and his soldiers are seen fleeing from goblins. They are exhausted and must retreat, leaving Lexia's protection to Yuya. Luna cannot believe it and thinks Lexia is a tyrant. But for her first order, Lexia wants to know more about Yuya's bath. Luna explains that he has a rare item capable of creating a bath anywhere, perfect for relieving fatigue and also good for beauty. Lexia finds it amazing and demands to try it. She decides to take a bath with Luna and invites Yuya to join them, but he refuses out of embarrassment, which Lexia regrets, saying, "What a shame." The girls relax in the bath and find it very soothing. Then Lexia suddenly asks if Luna likes Yuya. Luna accuses her of imagining things. Lexia then reveals her plan to marry him. Luna objects, but Lexia responds that if they are only friends, it should not be a problem. Luna remains unsure about her feelings. Suddenly, Lexia declares war. She is truly in love with Yuya, so they will compete for him, and whoever marries him will be the winner. Luna, confused, eventually accepts, imagining Yuya being taken by someone else. She wants to keep him for herself. Lexia declares that from now on, Luna will be both her guard and her rival. After the bath, Yuya offers to prepare dinner. Lexia volunteers to cook, but she can barely cut a simple potato, drops her knife, and almost causes an accident. Yuya ends up cooking instead. The girls find the meal delicious. Lexia compliments him, and Luna, feeling jealous, asks Yuya to feed her, pretending she has trouble moving because of her recent injuries. Yuya, remembering how strong his attack was, agrees. While eating, Luna smiles at Lexia, and Lexia, feeling jealous, also demands to be fed. Yuya says she is not injured, but Lexia uses her authority as a princess to order him to do it. He has no choice. That night, the girls sleep together, and Yuya, exhausted, feels that it was a good moment. The next day, he meets Owen and his group again, and Yuya apologizes for leaving him behind. He introduces Night again to his companions. Owen thanks him for saving Lexia the day before, then asks about Luna's identity. Lexia bluntly explains that she was an assassin sent to kill her, but that she will now work as her guard. Everyone is stunned, and Luna cannot believe she revealed her secret so quickly. Owen immediately becomes suspicious of her, but Lexia orders him to calm down. He refuses, still wary, until Lexia reminds him that they slept together. If Luna wanted to kill her, she would have already done it. Owen finally gives in reluctantly, stating that they will keep an eye on her. Yuya suddenly interrupts them, saying he can no longer accompany them to the palace. They lost a full day of travel by staying at the house, and he does not have time to make the trip now. He has to return to school. Owen advises him to come back when he has the chance, and points him toward a village where he can find directions to the capital. Lexia says her goodbyes, asking him to return soon. Suddenly, Luna throws herself at Yuya, kisses him, and thanks him for everything. Lexia, devastated, demands to come back and kiss him too, but he pretends not to hear and continues on his way. Yuya thinks about the kiss, wonders if she likes him, then takes a bath to relax. Suddenly, he discovers a creature that has snuck in and receives a notification. He has just tamed it. The creature looks confused but seems content, and Yuya thinks about checking its stats. His appraisal skill has leveled up, allowing him to see the abilities it possesses. He notices a skill called Sacred Earth and wants to test it. The creature creates a glowing field around them, which seems to give Yuya a boost. Impressed, he decides to give it a name. Looking at its appearance, he calls it Akatsuki. Night reminds him of the time, and Yuya rushes to school, where during class, Sawada announces a ball sports competition whose results will affect her bonus. She urges the class to give their best. The first event is soccer, and the class splits into two teams. Yuya plays as goalkeeper because he does not really know the rules. When the match starts, Ryo is a beast. He faces the opposing team alone and even scores a goal. Kade is impressed, but Rin reveals that they have a second secret weapon. She tells her to jump. She starts jumping, distracting all the boys, and Akira takes advantage of it to steal the ball from Ryo. Akira regains confidence, and Rin realizes her plan has slipped out of control. Akira runs past everyone and shoots, but Yuya blocks the shot instantly, leaving everyone stunned by his movement. He wonders what to do with the ball, and Ryo shouts at him to throw it as hard as he can. Yuya tries and throws it straight into the opponent's goal. wondering if he just scored. After class, a modeling agency approaches him to recruit him, but he politely refuses immediately. The manager is shocked that he is not interested. Yuya replies that he is already happy at school. Miu arrives to try to convince him as well, and his friends are surprised that he knows a model. Yuya explains that he only worked with her once. They are even shown a magazine cover where he is posing with her. Suddenly, a poster for their sports competition falls nearby, and Kaori runs after it. The manager then gets an idea to write an article about the school and photograph Yuya during the event. She goes to ask the school for permission. In the other world, Yuya defeats a skeleton monster, but feels like he has not really grown stronger. He goes deeper into the forest and finds an area with black trees so hard that normal attacks cannot damage them. He suddenly wonders how Akatsuki became so big, but Akatsuki is right behind him, and a mithril boar attacks him. Yuya tries to heal himself, but the boar crashes into him again. He thinks he is in trouble. The boar charges again, but it is suddenly thrown far away. A strange rabbit appears. It introduces itself as Usagi, and Yuya is stunned, a rabbit that can actually talk. The boar gets back up, but Usagi instantly destroys it. Yuya is shocked that it even destroyed the surrounding trees. He checks its stats. This rabbit is extremely powerful and filled with titles. Yuya thanks it for its help, and the rabbit asks him to show his kick. Yuya performs it. Usagi sees potential and demonstrates a kick that cuts through multiple trees. Then it starts training Yuya to do the same. After a while, Yuya manages to split a tree and then moves on to sparring with Usagi. Yuya asks why he is being trained, and Usagi admits that he wants to make him his successor. He explains that he is called a divine and must pass on his techniques. It is a title given to those who master a domain. He is the divine of kicks. He protects the world against beings that embody its negative aspects. Yuya asks if he can refuse to become his disciple, and Usagi says yes, he has a choice. But the battle against those beings is inevitable, so allies are necessary. Yuya would rather not become a divine, but he thinks about protecting Night and Akatsuki, so he hesitates. Usagi decides to continue the training anyway and asks him to learn magic, given his impressive barrier. Yuya knows that it was the work of the sage, but they agree on an exchange of knowledge. We see Yuya being chased by the Boar King and thinking it is a good chance for revenge. He fights, and thanks to his kicks combined with the whip, he finally defeats it. Yuya celebrates his victory and discovers that he has looted several SS rank items. Usagi explains that there are also SSS and EX rank monsters, and that the legendary beings are even more powerful. Suddenly, Yuya receives an evolution notification and starts glowing. His appearance remains the same, but he gains new abilities. The next day, he participates in a ping pong tournament, and the teacher asks him to put on a good show. His opponent is actually the national champion, nicknamed the Sniper, who delivers a devastating serve that even Yuya cannot return. But compared to the boar, Yuya easily returns the next ball, even piercing the table. He forfeits the match to avoid hurting anyone, and the photographers complain because he was too fast for them. Kaide then trains Yuya to play volleyball because one of their players is injured, and the teacher follows them. As soon as the match begins, everyone is shocked. The ball explodes, and the court is completely destroyed. The opposing team immediately forfeits, and the teacher realizes they missed the shot again because the photographers were distracted by something else. Kaide reassures Yuya that a win is still a win. Then a scream is heard. They see Kaori, and Yuya wonders what is happening. We see her teammate being carried away, warning Yuya to be careful of her hits. Yuya takes his place in tennis, and his opponents say he will also need treatment. The match resumes, and Kaori serves. The ball grazes Yuya and goes out. He tries to encourage her. She serves again, but throws her racket this time, and Yuya realizes that Kaori was the one who knocked the other student out. Understanding the situation, Yuya takes over, returns every shot, and carries the team. Kaori tries to help, but throws her racket again and almost falls. Yuya catches her, and the teacher finally manages to land a shot. At the end of the day, Kaori walks Yuya home and thanks him. She wants to invite him to eat, but Yuya says he is already happy just being with her. She says there is no need to thank him, but suddenly, Kaori kisses him. Meanwhile, we see someone fighting one of the legendary beings. He defends himself with magic, and the girl is surprised because he should not have been able to use such powers. He thanks Yuya for teaching him, and the girl reconsiders her priorities. Yuya becomes an even greater threat, so she decides to go after him and deal with him first. The agency director flips through the next magazine issue and rejoices at all the photos of Yuya. She believes the magazine will be a huge success, but her subordinate worries that other agencies will also take interest in him. The director is not worried. She clearly has a plan to make sure Yuya cannot refuse to join them. Back at Yuya's place, he and Kaori study together. Yuya thanks her for helping him with math. She replies that it is nothing since he also teaches her English. Yuya says it is more because of his strong understanding of languages, which makes English easy for him. In a flashback, we see them returning home together. Their exams are approaching. Yuya worries about his grades, and Kaori, surprised that he has weaknesses, admits that she was the one who suggested they study together. She meets Akatsuki for the first time and finds both of his animals very cute while they are sleeping. She asks where the bathroom is, and after she leaves, Yuya wonders if she will be able to find it. Kaori ends up in front of the door leading to the other world. Yuya follows her. She says she felt drawn to the door, and Yuya nervously explains that it leads to another world, and suggests that she try putting her hand through it. Her hand hits a barrier. Yuya explains that only people he allows can pass through. Kaori asks about the other world, and he shows her that it is a world of monsters and magic by demonstrating a few abilities. Kaori is amazed. Yuya explains that it is thanks to that world that he learned his skills, which allowed him to fight the delinquents who attacked the school and to save everyone during the fire at the shopping mall. Kaori finds it incredible. Yuya offers to show her the other world, takes her hand, and they cross over. She is surprised that another world really exists. He tells her that Night and Akatsuki come from that world. He explains that Night is a Fenrir, something like a wolf, and that Akatsuki looks like a pig, which hurts Akatsuki's feelings. Then Kaori's status window appears. In this world, abilities are shown as stats. Yuya is surprised to see that her starting stats are much higher than his were, remembering that he only had 1 point in everything. He explains how he leveled up here and how his appearance completely changed, making it seem like he cheated, otherwise he would not have been accepted. But Kaori changes the subject and wants to explore more. Yuya warns her that it is dangerous outside the barrier of his house, but promises another visit. She makes him promise by linking their pinky fingers. He asks her to keep his secret, creating a bond that brings them closer. Meanwhile, in the capital, Lexia returns to the palace, and the king wonders why Yuya is not with them. Owen explains that they had to change their plans, and the king suspects that it has something to do with Luna. Luna immediately admits that she tried to assassinate Lexia. The king grabs his sword to execute her, rushes toward her, but then stops, admiring her skill. She had restrained his arms, understanding that his blade cuts through anything in its path. Lexia becomes furious at her father, telling him that it was her choice to take Luna as her guard and that she will hate him if he harms her. The king, defeated, finally acknowledges Luna as one of his daughter's guards. After that, the king questions Owen about Luna. Owen explains that she was known as the head hunter of the Dark Guild. The king asks about her connection to Yuya, and Owen explains that Yuya captured her and brought her home along with Lexia. But when he hears that Lexia spent the night at a man's house, the king flies into a rage, swearing to cut Yuya in half. Owen assures him that nothing happened, but the king replies that they cannot be sure since he was not there. Meanwhile, we see the masked man who tried to kill Lexia. It is actually the first prince, Rhaegar. His subordinate reports that an influential noble hired Luna for the assassination, but Yuya ruined everything, and she has even become Lexia's bodyguard. The subordinate also adds that Yuya has been invited to the palace, which gives Rhaegar an idea. He hands his subordinate his secret weapon, a magic barrier capable of neutralizing all magic within its range. It will render powerless the mages protecting the king, leaving only Owen and Luna to deal with. His subordinate worries that he will be exposed if the plan fails, but Rhaegar believes they can shift the blame onto Yuya during his visit. Yuya gets an extra day off after the academy competition. He plans to go to the capital, but first takes care of the fields. He defeats a sheep monster that drops several items, including a rare bedding that magically provides the best sleep. On the way to the nearby city, Yuya is surprised to discover that there are catgirls in this world. He goes to the guild to trade since he has no money there. The guildmaster finds his name strange and does not recognize where he comes from. Yuya explains that he is from a small place, but based on his appearance, the master assumes he is a noble. Yuya insists that he is just an ordinary guy, but the master finds it hard to believe. He asks what he wants to sell and is stunned when he sees Yuya's item box skill. Yuya takes out a handful of peppers, and the master is immediately amazed by their shine. He examines them and says they are the best quality he has ever seen, while Yuya thinks they are just ordinary local peppers. The master offers to buy everything for 100 gold coins, and Yuya wonders if that is a lot, admitting he does not know the value of the kingdom's currency. The master explains that an average family can live comfortably on 5 gold coins per year, so 100 coins would be enough for 20 years. The master also gives him a guild card to serve as identification, and Yuya asks how to reach the capital. The master tells him about a carriage that goes there directly. When he arrives, Yuya is amazed by the crowd. Akatsuki points toward the palace, and Yuya starts to feel nervous, fearing he is out of his element. He goes to the palace and is received by Owen, who tells him they will go straight to see the king, which makes Yuya panic. But Owen reassures him, saying it is only an informal audience. We see Lexia and Luna waiting in the hall, and Yuya pays his respects to the king. The king immediately brings up that Lexia made him a proposal, and gets worked up, accusing Yuya of seducing his daughter. But Owen manages to calm him down. The king is not impressed because Yuya did not bring any gift for Lexia, so Yuya quickly takes out the bedding set he obtained from the sheep monsters. Lexia is flattered, but this makes the king angry, thinking that Yuya is trying to seduce his daughter right in front of him. Owen tries to intervene, explaining that Yuya does not know their customs, and Yuya wonders what is happening. Lexia explains that offering bedding means wanting to marry the person and share a bed with them. Yuya realizes he made a mistake, and the king is about to have him executed when they are suddenly attacked by assassins. The king orders the guards to fire, but one of the enemies activates the magic barrier on the ceiling, stopping the arrows. The assassins attack, but Yuya knocks them down, and with night he easily gets rid of them. Luna becomes jealous and tries to pull her away, while the king glares at Yuya. Owen notices an emblem on one of the attackers, and they realize that Prince Rhaegar is behind the attack. The news spreads among the guards, and the king retreats to his room. Yuya wonders what to do. He remembers that he was asked to keep Lexia safe. He goes to find her, hesitates to enter her room, but Lexia suddenly appears and suggests touring the capital since it is his first time there. Luna reminds her of the situation, but Lexia reasons that if her brother sends more assassins, he would expose himself. Luna agrees, knowing that Lexia mainly just wants to go out. Luna says Lexia should stay at the castle and that she could show Yuya around instead, but Lexia refuses, not wanting to leave them alone. Owen then offers to act as their guide while Lexia stays behind, but both girls refuse. In the end, the two girls leave together while Owen watches them from afar. Lexia wants to show Yuya the jewelry shops, while Luna has other ideas, and the two argue over his attention, causing a commotion. Passers-by watch them, thinking Yuya must be some noble accompanied by two beautiful girls. As they walk through the city, Yuya becomes interested in the Adventurers Guild. He explains that he already registered at the Merchants Guild on his way to the capital. Luna suggests that he also register at the Adventurers Guild since he often hunts, which would make it easier to trade materials and earn money through quests. Luna decides to register as well, wanting to go on quests with Yuya. Lexia does not like the idea, but Luna suggests that she should register too. Lexia complains that she wants them to stay together, but Luna reassures her that Yuya will probably be too busy to go on quests with her anyway. They meet the receptionist Emilia, who gives them the forms. Yuya starts filling out his, but one question asks what type of magic he can use. He remembers that the sage said people in this world are not very advanced in magic, so he decides not to mention that he can use all types or teleportation. He only writes wind, fire, and water. The next question is about magical power. Emilia explains that they use a crystal ball to measure magical energy. Yuya asks why they do not just check the status window, and Emilia replies that most adventurers hide their stats, so they verify it this way to prevent lies. Luna measures her energy. The ball lights up yellow, and she adds that she has never been very skilled in magic. When Yuya measures his, everyone is shocked. The ball explodes. Emilia thinks it is a mistake and tries again, but the result is the same. Yuya apologizes and wonders if he has to pay, but Emilia reassures him that everything is fine. While reading their forms, Emilia is stunned to see that he can use 3 types of magic. Yuya gets worried, and Emilia explains that mastering 3 elements already places him among the top-tier individuals. Lexia finds it amazing, and Yuya regrets not listing all the other types of magic he can use. Emilia inserts their forms into a machine that creates their guild plates. She explains that as new adventurers, they start at rank F. Yuya asks if there are quest quotas. Emilia says they can go at their own pace, but warns that when gathering materials, they should not take too much so the plants can regrow. They go to the quest board, wondering where to start, when suddenly a woman named Glenda approaches Yuya. She wants to team up with him after seeing him break the crystal ball, but the girls try to push her away, saying she has had too much to drink. The woman leaves, hoping to see Yuya again. Lexia reconsiders joining the guild, vowing to protect him from other women, but Luna reminds her to deal with Owen first, who already has trouble handling her. They head out into the field, and their first mission is to gather herbs. Yuya is surprised that his detection skill even gives him instructions on how to harvest them. Luna struggles to avoid damaging the roots, while Lexia is just happy to get away for a while. She proposes a competition with Luna to see who can gather the most valuable plants, and the winner will get a full-day date with Yuya. But Owen reminds them not to overharvest the area. They all go off searching, leaving Yuya alone. He thinks he has found a healing plant. Akatsuki wants to help, but instead finds an extremely toxic species. The girls return with their herbs. Yuya starts examining them when Owen suddenly arrives, announcing that they have located the first prince and that he needs Yuya's help. Lexia and Luna head back to the castle, while Yuya and Owen leave. They arrive at an abandoned house where everything seems calm. Owen suggests that the prince may have already been captured, but as they enter to check, a knife strikes one of the soldiers. They find the prince holding a guard hostage, and Yuya sends Knight, who manages to save him. Owen surrounds the prince and orders him to surrender, but he refuses and attacks them. Suddenly, the prince threatens to kill himself, believing he is unworthy. Owen is at a loss, and Yuya rushes to stop him. The prince tries to attack Yuya, but is thrown to the ground. Owen thanks Yuya, and they prepare to take the prince away when a huge explosion blows the house apart. The prince is relieved to see the girl from before. She analyzes the situation and concludes that he has failed and is no longer useful. He is shocked, thinking she wanted to make him king, but she admits that she only intended to use him to start wars and kill as many people as possible. The prince realizes he was deceived, and the girl prepares to finish him off. Owen tries to intervene, but an arrow pierces him. Yuya looks for where the projectile came from while she rains arrows down on them. Owen wonders what she really wants. The girl reveals that her goal is the eradication of humanity. The knights struggle under the barrage of arrows, and she even seems to predict their movements. The girl prepares to eliminate them, but Yuya blows away all the arrows with a burst of magic. Owen thanks him for saving them, and the girl realizes that Yuya is the one she has been looking for. She wants to fight him, but realizes she has already exhausted too much of her strength, so she decides to retreat. For now, the prince is taken away, and Yuya remains puzzled about the girl's identity. Rhaegar is brought before the king. The guards remove his mask and clothes, revealing a body covered in scars. Lexia struggles to look at him. It is revealed that she is the cause of his injuries. She once lost control of her magic and harmed him. After being exposed to Lexia's magic, he eventually fell into madness, developing a destructive urge. The only way to calm it was to inflict even more pain on himself. He blames the king for not helping him and for isolating him from the public, because he was no longer fit to be the crown prince. He was treated as if he did not exist, and Yuya understands that feeling. Rhaegar just wants his suffering to end. He begs to be killed. Yuya suddenly intervenes, claiming he can help, and brings out a healing elixir. Rhaegar resists at first, but then his scars completely disappear. Everyone is shocked. Rhaegar rushes to a mirror, unable to believe he has been healed. Yuya explains that the liquid comes from a universal healing herb. The king, astonished, says it is a legendary plant and thanks Yuya for using such a treasure to save his son. But Yuya reassures him. There is no need to worry. He grows it himself in his garden. Rhaegar bursts out laughing, convinced that with all this, he has only gained a temporary reprieve before his sentence. Lexia questions what should be done about his crimes. The king states that he attempted to kill people multiple times. Lexia, wanting to calm things down, declares that since she is the victim, she chooses to forgive him. The king replies that it is not that simple, since Rhaegar also attacked him, but Lexia insists on granting him forgiveness, and the king eventually gives in. Rhaegar escapes his punishment. After that, the king thinks about a reward for Yuya. Lexia offers her hand in marriage. Luna also offers to marry him, but the king ultimately grants Yuya the title of territorial knight along with land and a residence. Yuya goes to rest in his room and immediately falls asleep. However, he dreams of fighting the mysterious girl, gets defeated, and suddenly wakes up. The next day at school, his friends invite him to hang out, but he leaves immediately after class, even running past Kaori. When he gets home, he can only think about the mysterious girl. He returns to the other world and trains intensely to prepare for fighting the legendary beings. Night senses something, and they are suddenly attacked. The girl appears, and Yuya asks why she is attacking him. She reveals that she seeks revenge and that Yuya might interfere with her plans. Meanwhile, Kaori comes to his house to study. She enters because the door is open and explores the other world, hoping to find him. Then she hears explosions in the distance. The girl fires her arrows at Yuya. He charges forward with Night and manages to land a kick, followed by an attack from Night. She is impressed and decides that he must be eliminated before he becomes stronger. She opens fire again. Yuya spots Kaori nearby. Kaori panics. He tries to protect her, causing an explosion. The girl prepares to finish him off with her most powerful attack, but Usagi suddenly appears and stops her. He apologizes for being late and explains that he was investigating and learned that the girl's name is Yuri. He also discovered that she is the disciple of the divine archer. Yuri announces that her master was killed and that she is seeking revenge. She claims that Usagi always arrives too late and that her master, who protected humans, was betrayed by them. Usagi replies that their role as divines is to fight the calamities, and that destroying the world would break the pact with the planet. But Yuri responds that she only inherited the divine techniques without ever holding the title of a divine, so she is not bound by that pact. The battle continues. Yuya copies the move Usagi used earlier, creates an opening, and Usagi delivers a powerful kick. Yuri refuses to abandon her revenge, seeing humans as unworthy, and begins to draw power from the vial. She lets out a scream, and Yuya struggles to hold his ground. She charges at Usagi and changes her attack. Usagi takes the hit, and the situation turns bad. But Akatsuki suddenly arrives, activates his sacred field, which nullifies Yuri's power, giving Yuya the opportunity to knock her out. Usagi explains that aside from divines, there are also sacred beasts that oppose the power of the vial, and Akatsuki appears to be one of them. He adds that Yuri should no longer be able to use her vial-related powers, so he leaves Yuya to handle the rest. Kaori runs toward them, but a creature suddenly appears behind her. Yuya defeats it in a single strike, leaving Kaori frozen in shock. He explains that this is what his life is like in this world. He wonders if she is afraid of seeing him kill in front of her. He talks about how he leveled up in this world, thinking he was cheating and that she might not like him anymore, but she reassures him, "No, you haven't changed since the first time you saved me. You've always been kind, and I've loved you since that moment."